Burn. Incense. Oh, hey, everybody. This is Breaking the Cage, Astrology TV. Give me just a second. You know me, I'm going to post this out real fast. Then I'm going to get into everything. Yay, because, dude, this week, oh my, that's all I can say. That's all I can say. I'm like, wow. Hold on, let me get it posted out. And then to my actual page. Turn that off. Alrighty. Let me have a sip of my drink. Let me just say, this is for, what is this for? This is for October 22nd through the 28th. And technically on the 28th is when we're going to be having that full moon and solar eclipse. So you thought I'd lay down? You thought I'd crumble? You thought I'd lay down and die? Oh no, not I. Not I. I will survive. I will thrive. And so will all of you. This is where your mind needs to be this week. Period. Because what Spirit has given me all over the board is actions of animosity as we're coming into this eclipse energy. It's a lunar eclipse taking place in Taurus. And obviously that's going to get into the bullheadedness right before we get into, because you're going to go through Aries and then into that Taurus energy. And it is animosity on the rise. Spirit, I don't typically like to get into the political arena or the, world stage itself, but something is going to happen because of the way that they're giving me this energy. I asked even the Galactic Council, I was like, is there anything that you want to add? And they came in giving me the same thing that my guides gave me. And what my guides are giving me is, if you've probably seen it before, it's an old movie, Underworld. They're giving me Lucian. When Lucian first went into the cave with all the werewolves, and they all finally backed down, but before they were like in his face. And they're giving me, you got to stand your ground. They're telling me that a lot of this has to do with werewolf energy. That's why I put like the little GIF up of the werewolf energy as we approach this week. But this could be a little bit in confusion because they're also giving me the blood type of A. So this could have to do, it has a lot to do with shape shifting as we come into the week. But it may be that they were putting me on the right track instead of blood type A so that I would get the right information out. But it may also be dealing with blood type A, because blood type A, when we get into the idea of it being spliced with Pleiadian energy, it also speaks to us on what my guides were directing me to is the path of despair. And a lot of energy is going to be coming in this week, connecting with that either Pleiadian A part of the bloodline or backed out the path of despair. And it leads to rage. It's very empathy. And it's all about the ability to help others. It's all about they must solve problems in order for them to be happy. And when they cannot do that, that becomes a problem emotionally for them. And then they absorb more of that negative energy because they're trying to help solve the problem. And then they shut down. And when they shut down, it goes into that switching into that animosity energy of what Spirit is giving me. Now that, like I said, according to my homework and my stuff, that has to do with the bloodline for A in general, plus the A bloodline is very sensitive, especially when I get into the blueprint this week. It may also speak about that because they're the most sensitive as far as their diet goes. They should truthfully be vegans. Because their body just does not handle well with meat and so forth. So it comes with the personalities that go with that. But they're also giving me flat out, like I said, the Lucian energy from the Underworld movie and all of the werewolves, but they're also giving me Lucian himself as he shifts from a human to that werewolf energy. So this is shape shifting throughout the week. And it speaks to us of realizing the animosity that is coming in. But what they're also reminding me with us approaching, I'll get deeper into the explanation of the full moon and the eclipse as it rides through Taurus and into Aries, through Aries and into Taurus, and how that's going to bring up this energy, is they're also reminding me of different prophecies, so to speak, whether it's from movies or theories or cultures. Like they give me Ragnarok and how more or less in Ragnarok it became a self-prophesized energy of what brought on the end of the world for Ragnarok by, the way they treated the 3 children of Loki, versus the idea here of prophecy in general. Sometimes the idea of stepping into the prophecy and trying to fix or create or change the prophecy is what actually makes the prophecy come true. And with this, they're saying that is pigpen energy, the way that they're explaining it to me. And when I say pigpen energy, I'm thinking of the cartoon Charlie Brown and Pigpen, and the way he's drawn. Pigpen always looks like all of his dust and his smoke and his bad energy is around him. And this is where they were taking my mind to understand this energy. They were like, if you're getting yourself all connected in with the prophecy and with the negatives of these ideas here and the prophecies that could come of this week, along with the fact that it is going to be going through Aries and Taurus as it comes into that full moon and an eclipse. Remember, an eclipse energy is setting the prolonging energy for the next 6 months. When you go through moon phases are just 1 month at a time. But when we have an eclipse, you're no longer looking at a 1 month phase. You're looking at the preset for the next 6 months until the next eclipse. All right. This is why they're giving me, don't play into that pigpen energy. Don't play into that prophecy or that idea of Ragnarok and creating the prophecy to become so in a negative perspective. What they actually give me is just like so much smoke. Like when I'm going through the meditation and the journeying and dealing with them, it's like I'm in smoke energy, just like pigpen. And like what they're explaining to me is rise above the smoke. Rise above the smoke. Don't be part of that smoke. Don't get yourself caught up in distractions that are not yours, that are not important to you. Because if it's not right here in the heart, in the hearth of the heart, is what they just said, the hearth of the home and the heart, don't waste your time and energy on it because you're setting a new direction. This can be the most powerful energy right here to catapult you and to really redirect not just, this 6 months, but really a lot of your lifestyle, a lot of the rest of your life, if you're doing this energy right. And then they take me back to the affirmations. They're like, make sure you're doing your affirmations of your 369. And I know many of you have heard of this before. Your 369. Write it down 3 times in the morning. Write it down 6 times in the evening. Say it to yourself 9 times. And make sure that you're doing your affirmations properly. Not like I am prosperous. No, prosperity comes easy for me. Go straight to the crown chakra in these affirmations. Make sure that you are putting them out there in a way that you're because the manifestation is coming in. And they're saying make sure that you're putting that manifestation out there the way you want it, not half-assed. I cannot say enough times how spirit, energy, it's so funny because our words mean so many different things. And I used to say in joking when I was training with people or having my clients and so forth that, when my father was alive, he always wanted me to have a Volkswagen Bug. And it wasn't until my father passed away that I started going, those are kind of cool. But I haven't really super 100% care about it. I'm like, those were kind of cool. And the price of them have gone up crazy. And so I started being like, yeah, I'd like one. And then everywhere I went was like Volkswagen Bug, keychain, bird cage, just everything but the real actual thing. And this is what I'm saying is make sure that you're putting it out there without any kind of twists, without any kind of drag ass time to get to you. No, it comes easy for me. My financial situation is prosperous and it's easy. It comes this way. Do your 369. Say it to yourself. Write it down. Read it. Because the more you're actually doing it, the more you're bringing it into reality. Plus, they're reminding me, not just is this an eclipse. Here's one that most people are going to not even completely catch. But there's always cycles upon cycles upon cycles. And when we start working in these kind of energies, you have to be understanding of all of these cycles because they're reminding me that next year, 2024, is a leap year. It works in centuries. That works in centuries and it works in hundreds of years and is always by 4. And that is your emotional, your mental, your spiritual, and your physical, your oneness. It is connected to the number 4 of bringing this stuff into your energy. So make sure that you're on the right perspective here. Don't get caught up in that animosity. Don't get caught up in that, werewolf, fighting, because that has a lot to do with that Aries and that Taurus energy as we're coming into the full moon and eclipse. Lunar eclipse. You got to remember, you're going to be going through the Aries energy, which is a great ball of fire anyway. That is anxious energy. That is fire energy. That is, I'm all up in your face, and I'll worry about why I'm up in your face later. But I felt the need to be up in your face right now. How are you going to handle that? Are you going to put yourself in the position to be in that when it's not really truly after the home and the hearth of the soul? And then when we're getting into the Taurus energy, this is why I'm saying on that world stage, something bigger is about to happen. Taurus energy is also your manifestation energy. It is your money house. It is your prosperity house. On a universal scale, it is speaking to us also with Uranus here and Jupiter of the abundance of, are you in the power of your abundance, of your manifestation, of manipulating the energies for you? That was them, not me. Are you the one in that control? Or are you caught in that chaos and somebody else is in control? And I've been saying since 2020, with Uranus being here in Taurus, this is all talking about either you're in possession of you, or someone or something else is in possession of you. And this is speaking literally for people who are in this energy and not knowing their shit, not knowing how to do this work. I am talking about true possessions, but then I'm also talking about spousal abuse and so forth, because that is part of where we're going here, where it's not about creating and approving this kind of negative energy. It is about us moving away from it. And unfortunately, if you're not in the possession and the power of you, then someone or something else is manipulating the situation. And with Uranus here in Taurus, this is talking about your independence, your individuality, your uniqueness, your freedom, your standing in your power, or the very lack of it. This is talking about integrity. This is talking about standing in your power. And Aries fire coming right before we get into this energy. Plus, don't forget, Taurus energy can be bullheaded as shit. It can be bullheaded for all the right reasons or bullheaded for all the wrong reasons. And right there is also your werewolf shape-shifting energy, going from a normal human being into this monster coming at you. So if it's not truly of importance to your life, your heart, your soul, it's going to distract you from what is important. And don't pay any attention or play into that game. Don't get yourself in that pigpen energy unless it's necessary, is what they're trying to remind me of as we move forward. Now, as I get into the blueprint, this week is going to have a lot to do with the sacral chakra and the throat chakra, as well as the zeal point. Technically, it's going to be all of the head chakras, the zeal point, the third eye, and the crown. But they're saying third eye here has more to do with how you're connected to understanding how your brain works. And if you're truly connecting and getting out of that hive mind and taking the power back so that you are actually starting to access that crown and access that third eye properly and allow its general workflow to be in the body correctly. Because when the energy is going from the zeal point down in a positive energy, then this is technically, you know, in that Kundalini energy, it is technically positive. When it works from the back up, you know, from like down on your butt line and up, this is not necessarily as positive. However, if you are energy centric enough to handle it, that's going to help balance. But this is not the direction you really want that energy to go. And a lot of this energy is coming straight down the spinal cord, and it's going to be the throat and the sacral chakra. But what's in between them? Forget the backdoor chakras for a minute. What's in between them? Your solar plexus and your heart. And those are the two that are being targeted here by the imbalances of the sacral and the throat. But the throat's balance is going to come in through how you're handling what's going through the zeal point. As the zeal point, which is here in the back of the head, it's also known as the mouth of God. It's how you deal with psychic attack, or you rise above it. Like I said, they're giving me the smoke and the pigpen energy, and they're saying rise above that and don't allow yourself to be part of that. And it's important right now for you to understand this is part of what we're looking at. When we come into Aries energy, which is the head, you have, and some of these haven't moved, but I'm going still down the list to make sure in case you haven't listened to the show before. Chiron, the wounded healer, is sitting on the spinal cord. The North Node is sitting on the spinal cord canal. It is also connecting with the neck nerves, connections with the spinal cord. This is the ability to send the messages up and down from what it is getting from your brain activity and how your brain activity is working for you or part of that hive mind. If how you are directing what you are perceiving, what you are being part of. They say that you create your own reality. And if you are in a negative way, if you are still in that path of despair, then you are connecting to the three-dimensional world. You are connecting to the matrix. You are connecting to the hive mind. And they're telling you to rise above this and see it in the different perspectives. How many times have I told you guys? This world is only as important and as real as we make it. I get into a fight with my guides all the time because they give me a hard time about my diet. And I'm like, yes, my diet is horrific. I'll be the first one to admit that. But somehow I'm still spiritually connected. You know why? Because screw that. This is only as real as I make it. So I'm going to jump into the 5D. I'm going to jump into the 6D. I'm going to heal all this stuff in my body. I'm going to come back here and I'm going to shift it around because I'm the creator. And this is what I'm talking about. What are you connecting to in your brain? What are you connecting to and sending down your spinal cord and into all of your chakras? Is it healing energy or is it harmful energy? As we go into that spinal cord energy of Chiron and the North Node, we then jump into Jupiter, which is in the throat chakra in Taurus. And it is on the neck nerves itself, but it's also the spinal cord. Anything Jupiter touches, it amplifies, it expands on. Good or bad, and Jupiter is in retrograde. So your abundance is abundantly inwardly communicating with you. If it's communicating in a negative way, you need to shift that 100% the other direction. And be aware that that retrograde is not helping you, and it's showing you the problems of what you need to overcome. Then you have Uranus, which is literally on the sinus arteries. This is giving you spiritual flu season on how independent are you, on how much are you in your authentic truth. If you're having more and more of that flu season energy going on, this is telling you where you're having a problem speaking that truth, going at the pace that is right for you versus the one you're trying to go at, believing in yourself, facing that fear, knowing that you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be you, and being willing to be authentic enough to speak and hear that truth from yourself in both directions. Like I said, Uranus speaks to you about your integrity, your individuality. So this is all coming straight down through the zeal point, through the throat, through the ears, all of the sinuses in the head, all because of what's going on in this brain. And how the brain lobes are connecting the dots of what you've told it to pay attention to. And how you need to step into above the smoke. Then when we come down further, we go down directly to Cancer, which is your 4th house, which is technically the home, like the seat of the soul in a form, because it is the heart area. It's what goes around the heart. It's what protects the heart. And it is literally dropping right down underneath the ribs now, and it's starting to go into the actual opening of the stomach and the small intestines. And its main objective here is to make sure, hear me very clearly, Vista in Cancer is the keeper of the flame. What keeps the heart going? What keeps your soul burning? What keeps you tapped into everlasting home and seniority in here, and coming into bringing you back to your oneness, your source energy, what they cannot take away from you, the flame of you. And it is sitting on the opening of the stomach and the intestines, which main job is to make sure that nothing re-enters the stomach. There's your key. Nothing re-enters that is harmful. Period. This is why I said, rise above the energy. This is shape-shifting energy. It can be the best shape-shifting energy ever, but it can also be exactly what you're tapping into that will screw you up for the next 6 months if you're in the wrong frame of mind and the wrong part of heart and soul. If you're in ego right now, ego is going to destroy you. All right? It is the re-entering of the stomach through the small intestines to make sure that everything is being cleared so that, it can regulate the passage. Regulate the passage. We come then down into Virgo itself, and it is the small intestines. You have Lilith, which is your fire, again, and Juno, which is sacrificing commitment in the small intestines, and then you have Venus in the abdominal energy. So we're going straight through the solar plexus and into the sacral chakra. This is digesting and removing energy. What are you digesting and what are you deploying, as Spirit puts it? What are you deploying out of you? It's the way they put it, man. I didn't say it. Then we come into Libra. Libra is speaking to you about the South Node, which is everything that everything that you're comfortable with, everything that you're good at, but it doesn't serve you anymore, is sitting on your circulation. Where is your flow? How is your energy flowing? If you're not being challenged to step up right now, just step up and stand firm in your power, in yourself, in your shifting of your energy, then you're gonna not be overcoming this change. Pallas, Athena, the warrior goddess, is in the kidneys. All about strategically thinking how to solve your relationship issues with yourself and others directly on the kidneys, the lower back. Then you have the Scorpio energy. By the way, happy birthday, Scorpios, as we begin your birthday month. Your birthday energy. Scorpio's energy has the sun in it. It has Mercury in it. It has Mars in it. And it has Ceres in it. This is all about the sexual organs. This is all about reproduction, regeneration, renewal. What are we rebirthing? Ceres is not talking to hardly anybody, but Ceres is in this energy. And this is, what are you nurturing or neglecting about the rebirth? Then you have the sun coming in, illuminating everything. You have Mars coming in with your inner warrior, fighting in the water. Remember, Scorpio is a water sign, but it is the only sign that is known to hold up in with that fire energy, because it is all about that flow, and it can overflow. Just like the fire can turn into a wildfire. Scorpio is the only one that's going to put the fire out. Then we go into Mercury's communication. This energy coming through birth, death, rebirth, boundaries, rules, walls, boundaries for birth, death, rebirth, regeneration, rebirthing, getting into all of this energy. It's going on inside of the body. This is also speaking into your root chakra, connecting it with your sacral chakra, your sexual energy. This also has to do with how you feel about yourself. Sexuality is not just about sex. It's about feeling secure in your own skin and liking it. And being able to remind everybody else, you know what? I'm pretty damn good over here. I don't need you to make me feel better. I got this. Then you want to remind you, we are still dealing with Pluto, which is still in that 10th house, which is in the knees, which is dealing with, remember, it was in Aquarius for a little bit. It's gone back into Capricorn, and it won't actually come forward until approximately, I think, right in the beginning of January. And it's returned back to where it's been for like 300 years. This is stale, old ideas trying one last time to devour the situation and still hold that old control. It's going to lose it. Pluto is death, decay, and destruction for renewal, rebirth, and regeneration. Going, where did you not learn how to take your own power back from society and to show the world from the outside of you that you have the authority over your own life and your careers, your honor, your reputations, and where you want to redirect your life? Pluto is still here, but just as importantly, so is Pholos, which I've been starting to talk about more, which Spirit always reminds me is full loss, which is speaking about the guardian of intoxication and chaos. So we're talking about the chaos trying to harness this last little bit of control on what it always has done for as long as you've been alive. But where we're learning that's not the case, we have to change. This is your knees in the lower consciousness energies of these lower chakras, the lower ego chakras, where it is speaking to these upper chakras about where you have not let go of ego death, where you're still holding on to jealousy, inferiority, and inadequacy, helplessness, where you're still holding on to that chaos and still allowing it to rule you because you haven't quite figured out how to shift it. It's going to cause knee problems. Then when we move into that Aquarius energy, the only thing that is still here in Aquarius at the moment is another one nobody's ever talks about. It's Cardi Claw. And this is technically the Shaman. And he's going to be here for many years, teaching us exactly what the Aquarius is, the age of Aquarius, exactly what the water bearer is, the shaman, the one who does the divinity, who helps us to learn the different ways. He is teaching us how to get past greed, get past animosity, how to get past our animal nature of a dog-eat-dog world and me first, me, because I've got to be about me because no fucking body else is. Cardi Claw's the only one that's still in Aquarius, giving us that extra oomph of I got your back. And that is in your calves and your ankles trying to help you. But when we get into the Pisces energy, where Saturn is literally at like 0.17 degrees, Saturn, your rules, your walls, your boundaries, and Neptune and Nessus, which technically is an asteroid, but it is all about sexual abuse. It is all about abuse. It is all about guilt, revenge, and endless despair. It is technically the curse trying to find its healing. Tying in with Saturn, tying in with Neptune here, what energy are you connecting with? This is asking you, are you bringing forth the healing? Or are you starting a whole nother cycle that's going to fuck you up for another couple of years? And that energy is in the feet. And it is, like I said, in the lower consciousness chakras. And it is what you have actually built all of your energy on. It is connecting with that root chakra, that sacral chakra, and all of the others. So when you're having hip problems and all of this from beneath you, these are the energies of where you haven't fully brought that healing forward, where you haven't fully come into unconditional love within yourself, into the creation of where we're trying to move forward. I'm helping you to see this because in order to truly set a foundation for you to walk on, grow on, you have to acknowledge these energies. Feet energy is some of the most malice of energies. It is the consciousness of you freaking owe me. I've worked hard all my life. I freaking deserve it. So I'm going to steal it. Ha! And this is why I said Spirit is pointing to me that this week is pointing out a lot of, as it goes through that Aries energy, technically through that Pisces energy, which is unconscious energy, hidden energy, but going on in your mind, then coming into Aries, very bold and mouthy, then coming into Taurus, where the bull ultimately resides, whether he's in for the right reasons or the wrong reasons. And this is why I said Spirit's pointing out animosity this week and the path of despair. Are you connecting with that path of despair? And are you letting the rage come in? Because this is speaking about where Pleiadian energy, the Pleiadian splicing in this energy, has to feel like it is healing something. And if it's not healing it, it goes into frustration and rage. And then it just shuts down. This is important for you to understand as we're applying this energy, because it's important for you to take the me time. It's important for you to accept ego and understand that, yes, we're still working on ego's death and allowing ourselves to grow and ascend to higher energies, but you can't do it without, as Spirit was putting it to me this week, and I made a little meme earlier this week. I went into the movie The Never Ending Story, and what Spirit was giving me is the turtle, Mola, I think was her name, the ancient turtle, and the little boy that was in the show, and he's on the tree trying to talk to her, and she sneezes and blows her nose all over him. And because Spirit's like, the ancient turtle is like the higher self. And even though the higher self loves you and knows the bigger story, knows the truth, knows the everlasting, it's allergic to ego. It's allergic to the youth. Remember, no matter how much you've grown, no matter how much you've worked towards everything, and how much you think you've learned, you are still nothing more than a child in the eyes of the everlasting infinity of everything that is. So there's always more to learn, and there's always more raw depths of self to get into your ego and admit, guess what? My ego is just having a two-year-old's hissy fit. Okay. Accept that that's what that was. And love yourself through that and jump back into your higher self. That's all. That's really all that you have to do to honor your deep truths, so that you can learn to stop being that, to stop letting that out, to stop allowing that chaotic energy to have that power. That is all part of the path of despair. And learning how to acknowledge it and shut it down, and at the same time accept it and, pat it on its back like a little child. It's okay. But we're going to move on now. when we get into the actual planetary energies this week, like I said, there is some very good energies, but there are some difficult ones. But I mean, when is that not there? You've had for almost 2 months now. This right here is telling us all that we can be changing so much if we're connected in our mind right. You have that Uranus energy, self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. In the house of Taurus, which is the second house universally, your manifestation house, your prosperity house. If you are feeling liberated, feeling that self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, you're taking it over to that 12th house, healing up some shit that's going on in your skeletons in the closet, because that's what Neptune is, creating magic or stepping into more of the skeletons in the closet. Neptune in the 12th house is all about how are you going to create magic? Are you going to create something brand new? Or is fantasy going to smack you in the face with harsh-ass reality? And then it's taking it over to the world stage, to where Pluto is. Going, nah, these are the changes that's been here forever, and we're not having it anymore. This energy has been up. Been there for 2 months going, all you got to do is step into it and claim it. Claim it. But you got to believe it. Then you have Virgo, which has Lilith and Juno. Sacrifice and commitment with your inner fire in your daily tasks, your daily routines, your mundane. One of the biggest places of where you manifest, because it's part of your daily activity that you do repetitively. And the people, places, and things that are part of that repetitive energy is speaking directly to Sun and Mercury in Scorpio. This is talking about the rules, the walls, the boundaries of regenerating relationships for healthy reasons or kicking them to the curb. Plain and simple. You're not supposed to be attached to anything. So if it's not serving you, break the attachment. This is about your fire, your commitment to your daily activity, and what you are putting yourself and your energy into. Who are you giving connection to your energy? And if it's not serving you, it's time to rebirth that in a new direction, or at least set new boundaries to redirect. Then you have Venus. We're coming into trines now. You have, not Venus, you have Vista. Like I said, the hearth, the fire. It is literally the keeper of the flame in the 4th house, in the home energy, in Cancer. And it is speaking again directly with the Sun, Mercury, and Haumea. Haumea is a little bit like right in the cusping energy of Scorpio and Libra. It's moved away a little bit. And that is the actual collective consciousness on just who has access to you, on the relationships that you are a part of. What are you rebirthing? What access are you giving out? And it's speaking from the heart and the home. You can't lose you unless you misplaced you. If you forgot to be connected, you got lost along the way, you dropped your authenticity. It's time to call your power back. It's time to reclaim it. It's time to get back into, I cannot lose me. This is your inner emotional security. And if you're tapped into that inner emotional security, when it is connecting with Haumea, the Sun in Scorpio, and Mercury in communication, this can give you rebirthing energy right there. This can rebirth a whole new tribe starting if necessary. This is all about regeneration. The Death card and starting new. in a form. Then we have that Sun, Mercury, and Mars is all over Saturn this week. All over Saturn. Rules, walls, boundaries, seeing the changes that have to be made. Bringing up the past. Bringing up what's been in denial. Bringing up the skeletons in the closet. Throwing them all out for everybody to see. And going, so what you going to do about it? You going to rebirth? Regeneration? Or are you just going to continue the same old shit? Like I said, this is not a 1 month cycle. You are setting 6 month cycle right here. Tapping into a lot prolonged, especially with Spirit coming right in and going, don't forget, next year is a leap year. So you might be even setting next lives. It's up to you. I'm just giving you the energies of what they're giving me. Then you have that North Node in Libra is also. And Haumea, the collective consciousness, again, not North Node, the South Node in Libra. What you're comfortable with, but it's not serving you, versus actually coming into collective consciousness, is also talking to Saturn. This is all about, do you want to heal or do you want to remain in denial? Bringing me right back to where I was saying, the prophecy can be created sometimes by stepping into it and creating it. If it is not part of your drama, don't step into it. But if it is part of your true drama, your true inner unhealed energy, you may be creating a prophecy by avoiding it. So it's a little funny how that works out. Then you've got Venus, which is in Virgo, your sensitivity, also stepping into your abdominal energy, your gut feeling, your, the gut brain, speaking about what is good for you and what is not good for you, and everything about your mundane activity, diet, as well as how it's gonna all work through the system as you as it works through your system. But because I wanted to say devour the energy is what's coming out of my mouth, so that must be what they want me to say. Your Venus energy that is devouring the energy around you, whether it is food, people, places, things, because that's the way they're wanting me to put it. They're not going to let me shut up. They've been doing this to me all day. Is going to be speaking to you about whether it's good for you or bad for you, and how it is developing as it's moving through the body. It is literally speaking to Jupiter and Uranus and that throat chakra, which is also connecting with that zeal point, because directly on the opposite side. But anything Jupiter touches, it amplifies. And this is speaking about, what are you speaking about? Second house, self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. Are you in your power? Did you give it away? Are you allowing people to manipulate your time and your energy? These are positive energies. So it should be helping work for you. But if it needs to show you the other way to get you on the right track, it will. You have Uranus, which is getting along great with Pluto. Standing in your power, reclaiming your power, your individuality, your uniqueness, your inventive energy, recreating is on your side. If you have the courage to be in it, if you have the courage to stand in it. But the challenges this week is loaded. And what I mean by that is you have not really a T-square, but it's trying its best to form a T-square. And you have Libra and Scorpio, fighting everything in Libra, everything in Scorpio. That is the South Node, Pallas, Haumea, the Sun, Mercury, Mars, everything about that energy. Fighting Pluto, which then is fighting Chiron and the North Node as well as Eris. So that is pure chaos, trying to drive you in the same circle over and over again. 7th, 8th house, no boundaries. Not standing in your power, giving your power away, illuminating everybody else but yourself. Starting a fight, but really not doing anything proper about it, just getting frustrated and blowing up, but not actually solving anything, showing the outer world where you're not in the power, or allowing the outer world to manipulate the situation, and going right back to Chiron and the North Node going, all you had to do was speak up, but did you speak properly? Did you stand in your alpha energy? You cannot lose the soul unless you misplaced it. And nobody can take it from you unless you chose not to be connecting to it. So this is saying it's important for you to stand in that power, to stand firm, not back down, but don't necessarily go out and start the shit. But if it has to, I'll finish it. Then you have Jupiter is absolutely not having anything to do with what's going on in Scorpio. Jupiter, the abundance in that second house, the manifestation itself, is not having anything to do with what the Sun, Mercury, Mars, or Ceres is trying to teach you from that 8th house, from Scorpio's more or less fire, because the Sun's in here with it, where it's trying to show the rebirthing. It's trying to transcend. But Jupiter is not making that easy. Jupiter is still connected to the hive mind here in most people's actions. And this is saying you've got to get out of that kind of thinking. Again, pig pen, get above the smoke. Get into those higher dimensions. Do not get distracted and play these lower dimensional games. And lastly, but definitely not least, is Saturn is not getting along with Lilith or Juno. Sacrificing commitment to what you are a part of every single day. Your mundane tasks, your people, places, and things. Who are you giving access to? And how much are they taking when you give them that access? Rules, walls, boundaries. In that 12th house, where are you still comfortable in your uncomfortability and you're allowing that shit to continue to go on? Stop it. I love you guys. I'll see you next week. Bye.